Okay, so get ready because we're about to do a deep dive into a case that's pretty chilling.
Yeah, this was a tough one.
We're talking about William George Davis, a former nurse who basically turned a place of healing, a hospital, into a scene of terror.
It's hard to wrap your head around.
And we're going to try to understand how this could even happen.
Exactly.
We've got some Wikipedia and news articles to help guide
Some
us.
pretty in-depth stuff.
It all went down at Christus Trinity Mother Frances Hospital in Tyler, Texas.
Between 2017 and 2018.
So not that long ago.
No, not at all.
What makes this case so disturbing, I think, is that Davis wasn't using, the typical things you think of, like poison or drugs or something.
Right.
His weapon was air.
Yeah, he was injecting air into the arteries of patients recovering from heart surgery.
Air. Seriously. I mean, how does that even cause death?
It's called an air embolism.
Okay.
Basically, imagine a blockage in the bloodstream,
Okay.
like a traffic jam of air bubbles,
Oh, wow.
preventing that oxygen-rich blood from reaching the vital organs.
So the organs are being starved of oxygen,
Exactly. And for patients already weakened by surgery, this can be fatal,
especially if it affects the brain.
especially the brain, yeah.
So these deaths, they wouldn't have immediately raised suspicions of foul play then.
Probably not right away. At first, the symptoms could have been mistaken for just normal post-surgical complications.
Right.
But then, doctors started noticing a pattern. Unexplained neurological issues, and most chillingly, they were finding air in the brains of these patients on CT scans.
And that's a huge red flag.
A major red flag. That's when they knew something was really, really wrong.
And that's when they turned to the security footage, right?
Exactly. And there he was, William Davis, caught on camera, lurking near the victims' rooms right before their conditions took a turn for the worse.
Wow.
That footage became a crucial piece of evidence linking him to the crimes.
He was convicted of killing 4 patients.
Yeah. John Lafferty, Ronald Clark, Christopher Greenaway, and Joseph Kalina.
And 3 of those deaths happened in 2017, but Kalina actually clung to life for 2 years before passing away in 2018.
Yeah, so it wasn't always immediate.
It's heartbreaking to think about the families
Absolutely.
sending their loved ones to the hospital believing they were in the best possible hands,
Right.
only to discover they were being preyed upon by someone they should have been able to trust.
Yeah, it's awful.
And it gets even more disturbing. During his sentencing, prosecutors brought up 3 more names: Perry Frank, James Blanks, and James Sanders.
All potential victims.
They also believe he may have injured 5 other patients, so we could be looking at a total of 11 victims.
It's possible.
But officially, Davis was only charged with 4 murders. Why is that?
Well, it likely comes down to the difficulty of proving a direct link between his actions and the deaths in those other cases. The evidence might not have been as clear-cut, or other health factors might have complicated things.
So Davis was fired from the hospital in March of 2018, probably when they started getting suspicious. Then just a month later, he was arrested.
Yeah.
Did he even try to run?
Surprisingly, no. He pleaded not guilty.
Oh, really?
His attorney tried to spin a tale of Davis being a scapegoat.
A scapegoat?
Yeah, just someone who happened to be around when these unfortunate deaths occurred.
Seriously, with the air in the brain thing and the security footage, that's a hard sell.
Yeah, you'd think so.
Yeah.
But it was a recorded jailhouse call to his ex-wife that truly sealed his fate.
Let me guess. He confessed.
Not a full confession, but close. He basically admitted that he wanted patients to stay in the ICU longer so he could earn more overtime pay.
So his motive was greed. Overtime pay for taking lives. It just seems...
Incomprehensible, right?
Yeah,
That such a mundane motive could fuel such heinous acts.
right.
The prosecution, of course, completely rejected any notion that these deaths were accidental. They built a strong case.
Yeah.
In October 2021.
The jury delivered their verdict. Guilty of capital murder.
He was sentenced to death.
Which, as you probably know, comes with an automatic appeal in Texas.
That's right.
So the story of William George Davis isn't quite over yet.
No, not yet.
It's just, it leaves you with this pit in your stomach, you
Well,
know?
it really does.
It's hard to fathom how someone in a position of care, someone who took an oath to heal,
Right.
could commit such atrocities.
I think it's a chilling reminder that evil can wear a very ordinary face. William Davis wasn't some monstrous figure lurking in the shadows.
Yeah.
He was, by all accounts, a seemingly average person
Yeah.
who used his position of trust to carry out these unthinkable acts. It's a stark reminder that we can never truly know what lurks beneath the surface, even in those we believe we can trust.
Makes you wonder if there were any warning signs,
Yeah.
red flags that were missed.
That's a question investigators and hospital administrators grappled with in the aftermath. It's possible.
Yeah.
There were subtle behavioral cues, personality traits,
Oh,
or even past incidents that in hindsight
right.
might have raised concerns.
All right.
But sometimes, these individuals are incredibly adept at hiding their true nature.
So it's not always about some dramatic Hollywood-style evil villain persona.
Right.
It could be much more insidious, much harder to detect.
Exactly. And that's what makes these cases so challenging, both to prevent and to comprehend.
It is a sobering thought.
Yeah.
And it makes you think about the victims' families. Imagine sending your loved one to the hospital, believing they're in the best possible hands, only to find out they were deliberately harmed by the person entrusted with their care.
Yeah.
The betrayal of trust is immense. It's not just the physical harm,
Of course.
but the emotional and psychological trauma inflicted on families.
Right.
This sense of violation, the questioning of everything they thought they knew.
Their lives are irrevocably shattered.
Yeah.
And while the guilty verdict and death sentence might offer some semblance of justice, it can never truly compensate for their loss.
No.
That's a question that goes beyond the legal realm and delves into the complexities of grief, healing, and the search for meaning in the face of such senseless tragedy.
This case shines a light on the broader issues of healthcare ethics and patient safety.
For sure.
What responsibility do hospitals have to prevent such tragedies from happening?
This case serves as a stark reminder that hospitals, like any other institution, need robust safeguards to protect patients from those who might seek to exploit their vulnerability.
What kind of safeguards are we talking about?
Well, thorough background checks on all employees are essential,
Right.
especially those in direct contact with patients. But it also goes beyond that.
Okay.
Hospitals need to foster a culture of transparency and accountability, where staff feel comfortable speaking up if they see something suspicious.
So that people feel empowered to report anything that seems off without fear of reprisal.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And of course, continuous monitoring of patient care is essential,
Okay.
especially in critical care units. Technology can play a significant role here.
Yeah.
Security cameras, electronic medical records, systems that can flag unusual patterns in medication administration or alert staff to potential risks in real time.
So it's about creating layers of protection, both human and technological, to safeguard patients.
Precisely. We need to strive for a system where potential harm is detected and addressed before it can escalate into tragedy.
This case also reignites a long-standing debate,
Yeah.
particularly in Texas, the death penalty.
Texas has always had a strong stance on capital punishment.
Right.
Davis's sentence has inevitably fueled discussions about the ethics and efficacy of the death penalty.
It's a complex issue
That
with strong arguments on both sides. Some believe it's a just punishment for such horrific crimes, while others view it as cruel and inhumane, regardless of the offense.
And it's a conversation that will likely continue long after the specifics of this case fade from public memory.
While it's crucial to examine the legal and ethical ramifications,
That's
we
right.
can't lose sight of the human cost.
Right.
Real people lost their lives, families were devastated, and a community was left reeling from the betrayal of someone they should have been able to trust.
You're right. It's important to remember the human element. And for those directly impacted, the journey toward healing and understanding will be long and arduous.
It's a reminder that even in the face of darkness, compassion, resilience, and the pursuit of justice are essential.
Absolutely.
Well, we've covered a lot of ground here today, from those chilling details of the crimes to the broader issues of healthcare ethics and that whole death penalty debate. What's sticking with you most from all this information?
It's the unsettling realization, someone entrusted with the care of the vulnerable can actually become the very source of their demise.
It's a scary thought.
It really is. It's a stark reminder that we must remain vigilant and advocate for systems that protect patients and hold healthcare professionals accountable.
Couldn't agree more. To you listening, we leave you with this. How can we, as a society, foster that culture of vigilance and accountability in our healthcare systems? Without succumbing to fear and suspicion.
It's a tough one.
It's a delicate balance, but I think it's one worth striving for as we navigate those complexities of human nature and the ever-present potential for both good and evil.
Well said.
Thank you for joining us on this deep dive. We hope this has provided you with at least a little better understanding of this complex and disturbing case.
Until next time.
Keep learning, keep questioning, and keep the conversation going.